Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back in the turret for some Traitors feedback after episode number 5, and very excited to answer your listener questions here live today with Mr. Traitors. Here he is. It's Pooya Samvikili. Pooya, how are you?
I am so good, Rob. It's fun. We're live today. Let's see what everyone's cooking, the ideas, the thoughts. I know there's been a lot of questions and a lot of discussions about these last couple episodes. So I'm excited to get to talk with you one-on-one today.
Okay, good. And so we have questions that people sent in, robiswebsite.com/Traitors feedback, but also we're here live. We could take your questions in the chat as well. So we will talk about some of your questions. We got some fun stuff from Traitors social media, which is always exciting. Traitors really brings it in terms of the social media interactivity. And so there's a lot of fun stuff going on there. And we'll break it all down. And then on Thursday night, we'll be back with episode number 6 of the season's half over. What? How'd that happen? Episode 6 will be live after the episode. You can catch all of our coverage at weknowtraitors.com. Pooya, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Rob. I'm doing good. I've had a busy couple weeks, a lot of pods, as you know. But now I feel like I'm on the other side. It's a little bit of an open schedule, so we're trying to cook everything. We're trying to make everything good look good.
All right. Last week, Matt Scott talked to you on Pod Friends, that a great podcast that Matt Scott does, collecting interviews, conversations, even they say in the theme song, of different people in the RHAP universe. This week, an interview with one of the stars of the Traitors, one of the titular Traitors, Carolyn Weegar, with a interview, Matt Scott. Great interview with Carolyn, which you can check out. Beapodfriend.com. RHAP, look at us with landing interviews with reality TV's top stars.
We're living good, Rob, and we're delivering. I love it. I love every bit of it.
Wow, what a great start to the week. Interview with Carolyn on Pod Friends. You can check that out. Plus, Matt Scott has some bonus content with Carolyn you can listen to for free on our Patreon at robiswebsite.com/patron. Okay, so we are getting ready. We got a big, sort of like the lead up to Matt Scott knows a thing or two about wrestling. Like we've got like almost WrestleMania being advertised this week. Carolyn versus Danielle.
Yeah, the headline event of the card here. It's been an interesting ride, Rob. Obviously, we talked a couple days ago about how this turret is the most destructive we've ever seen on any Traitors season. I even spent the last couple days sitting back and thinking about the other turrets. This takes the cake. This is easily the most destructive a turret's been this early in the game ever.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think this thing is coming to a head this Thursday night where we are going to get at the round table, potentially as soon as this week, maybe a banishment of Danielle?
No, I do not think it's a banishment of Danielle. I do not think it's a banishment of Carolyn. However, I do think a traitor is going this week. That's the vibe I'm on.
Could it be Rob's time?
I think his invoice is coming up, Robin, so he's got to pay it.
Okay. Anything in particular giving you that idea?
So I feel like what we've seen so far through 5 episodes is that even when new evidence is brought to light, everyone's still focusing on that first case. They want to shut that down before they look at other stuff. And we saw this a little bit with Bob the Drag Queen. You know, we got the coffin theory coming in, but Bob the Drag Queen was still a name that was floating out there. Granted, Rob did push for it. Then this week, I've seen a lot of people be like, hey, why is no one talking about Danielle's behavior at the challenge? What was that all about? Because we have to put a nail in the coffin theory. That's what is happening.
Yeah.
I think the next case is let's talk about Rob and Bob the Drag Queen all over again and see where that goes. Well, I do think the Danielle and Carolyn thing will come to a head at some point. I don't think it's going to happen until they resolve the Rob thing.
Now, you and I spoke with Robin Dixon the other day, and we asked her about whether or not she had any sus on Danielle. And she actually said that she did not think that it was very suspicious what Danielle was doing.
Yeah, even when you watch the if you watch the not uncloaked, what do they call it? The reveals that they do on YouTube, you see them talk about how, you know, Danielle is a good actor. Like I felt like she seemed like she was very nervous. She wanted the shield every time. So I didn't think twice about it. I think for us, we're seeing it as overdoing it. There's every bit of chance that there's quite a few people in that house that are not really looking at Danielle as such.
Yeah.
The things that are scary for Danielle, I think, is her association with Bob the Drag Queen, and potentially now some of the Jeremy sus that was put out there that then Nikki ran with, that I think a couple other people might have heard whispers of. Maybe that coming into it.
All right, let's take a question. Our first question comes to us from Chris Q, who says, someone please tell me why everyone thinks Danielle is this amazing strategist. She's been sloppy from almost the start.
I think that this is something, Rob, that we get a lot of with Traitors US specifically, as opposed to other franchises. And that's because these players are all coming in with prior experience and prior reputations that we know from other shows. Danielle Reyes on Big Brother is one of the best to never win and is one of the best minds the game has seen. That is not debatable to me. Now, you put her in the Traitors, she's not doing as well. That is also acceptable to me. These are very different shows. And I think we've talked about, do the Big Brother players, like, why are they not doing as well? I think it's a different game. I think it's a different game, and it's a different tool set needed to play that game.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily, to me, if you go, and I said this last year with Dan, if you go on the Traitors and you bomb, I do not think it changes my opinion of you on your original show. It just does not.
So Danielle, there's been a lot in the edit about people questioning what Danielle is doing. But I think it's a fair question to ask. We talked to Robin. We asked Robin, okay, what did you think about Danielle? She said, no, I didn't think that Danielle was doing anything suspicious. A lot of the people, like the talking heads that we see on the show, talking about that, Danielle, what are you doing? It's Rob. It's
the
Carolyn.
Traitors.
Yeah, the Traitors. The Traitors are saying, like, oh, Danielle, you're doing too much. But other than Jeremy, we have not seen a ton of people really thinking that there is a strong theory that Danielle could be a traitor. You know, you have to remember, a lot of these people don't know who the reality people are. We know about Tony. He's a two-time winner. Very dangerous. But what do they know about Danielle? Like, she's a grandma. You know, I don't think that necessarily, like, if you don't know about, like, Big Brother 3, I don't know for the non-reality people how menacing they're thinking Danielle is. And I think there definitely was some questions about what is she doing with taking the people off. And they might just think that this is who Danielle is. She's easily upset. So the couple of people that knew her, like Derek, was like, that was a little weird that she did that. But I don't know if there is a prevailing sort of thought in the castle that people are like, Danielle, definitely a traitor. A lot of sus on Danielle.
I think, you know, we've talked about how Carolyn is seen and discounted for showing emotion, for reacting or speaking the way she does. I think there's something to be said about the early time with Danielle, where Danielle was one of two traitors who got off the pontoon, was on the pontoon in the beginning. No one's looking at her as a suspect there. I feel like acting like you definitely need the shield at every given moment, acting a little bit emotional, a little like unsure. I think that's helping her with a lot of the faithful. I love the point you bring up that a lot of the what are you doings we're seeing are from the traitors directly. And all the things I've been critical of Danielle for are choices she's making that me as a person who knows she's a traitor thinks it's bad for her game. But if I'm in that castle trying to figure out who is what, I know Danielle's game, but I think a lot of people don't. And I think that's the other thing, is that Tony has a big billboard credential, a 2-time Survivor winner, won millions of dollars. Danielle's never won the show. And her last appearance on the show proper, not counting reindeer games, even though that's basically the only thing they're going to know them about because of the Britney connection, was Big Brother 7, Rob, which was nearly 20 years ago? Like, that's a long time ago. So unless you're like a historian of the thing, you're not going to know that. And I think some of the proof there is you look at someone like Dylan, who has proven to be a good traitor hunter / detective. He is seeing all the things Danielle's doing and not seeing it as she's an obvious traitor. He's like, oh, she's just a bad faithful. She's playing this horribly. Carolyn, I'm going to talk her out of this because this is stupid. I'm with you. She's not playing it well. So I think that that's something that people need to keep in mind, is that the faithful are not really privy to what she's doing. The people who are, us, the audience, and the traitors are critical of it. And that makes sense.
Yeah. So look, is it going to work out for Danielle? I don't think so, but look,
I don't think so either.
We waited so long for Danielle to come back on our TV. All right. Let's just enjoy the ride a little bit. Come on.
One of my favorite things about the Traitors, Rob, is that you can put anybody in this show that you know that are like gods in their games, and not everyone's going to get 100% on this game. There's no shot. You're going to get people who did really well the first time who are going to do horribly here. And I think that's just fun to watch either way. How are they going to get themselves out of that peculiar situation? Are they going to be able to overcome those odds? And I feel like we're seeing that with Danielle for sure. I think especially this week, a lot of heat on Danielle for this move to go for Carolyn, which doesn't make sense. But I think then look at someone like a Boston Rob, who is doing Boston Rob things. And then the question is he going to overcome it, or is he going to go down swinging? Well,
let me ask you this about Carolyn and Danielle. Is this reversible? Can this be fixed? Can the wound be mended with Danielle and Carolyn?
It's tough. It's very tough, because we see the energy Carolyn's about to go into that turret with. She does not give a damn anymore. She's willing to call them out to their face. We even see her say, you know, the people I want murdered are in front of me. It's you two. Like that's who I want to murder, but I can't. So I don't know. I feel like in a world, let's say Boston Rob does leave, what are they going to do? Not work together? Like they have to patch things up. Will they trust each other? I think absolutely not. Will they both say to each other's faces, I let's work together? I think that's very likely.
Yeah. So, well, we'll have to see what they can do in terms of moving on. But hopefully, you know, we see in the preview, you know, Carolyn saying like, I want to murder the two people I'm talking to. That's the only name I want to come up with. You know, if Carolyn is going to maybe air some of this out, is there a chance, you know, for if she's saying the unsaid, is there a possibility that potentially we could fix this?
It all comes down to this, Rob. If you gave me a vocal warning to my face, and then I, in front of other people, kept doing the things that you gave me a warning about, I don't think you're going to be like, all right, I'll take care of it in the dark, like when we're alone. You're going to put me on blast.
Who gave who a warning?
So let's say in this exercise, you are Carolyn, I'm Danielle. You are confronting me about floating your name. And I'm like, you know, giving you the reaction there. We're kind of arguing in person. I'm like, you know what? Let's table this. We have to work together, whatever. Yeah. Then we go into the next day and you hear again that, oh, Pooya was saying your name like 20 minutes ago. I feel like then you're like, you know what? I tried to bury this. You're now vocalizing this. I'm not going to hide it from it. I'm going to confront you publicly.
Yeah, I just think that there is maybe a tiny bit of hope that they could potentially, you know, once this is out in the open, once this, like, I think it's like a little bit encouraging if Carolyn is willing to confront her about it, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Certainly, it seems like that we are headed towards a confrontation coming up on Thursday. How about this question about Danielle? Who do you think that Danielle wants to recruit as this traitor to get Boston Rob out?
This is a tough question because we both agree. This move is wild. Like, I don't think you're supposed to get Carolyn out to get Boston Rob out. That makes no sense to me. However, who are you? You're clearly eyeballing somebody to do this with. And if we had to do a short list, Rob, and let's assume she gets her way and gets them in, because we already talked about last time how, well, if Rob says no and it's a 50-50, then you can't get that person. Let's pretend she gets them in. I'm looking at Brittany. It's basically people you can fully trust, right? Brittany, I think she thinks she can trust the Derek to bring in. And if we're talking outside of Big Brother, I think Dylan's the other one. But I hope Danielle realizes that Dylan is also in Rob's back pocket as well. Like, Dylan has many friends. You can't quite trust that.
Right. I don't think that Dylan would go to Carolyn and tell her, like, hey, Boston Rob is saying your name. They're the backwards baseball hat boys.
Right. I think Wes is another good one to put out there. Wes is another outside the box choice, especially if she is heard.
Is Wes going to be more loyal to Danielle than to Rob?
Oh, absolutely. I think now that he's also put out Rob's name, I think he knows better than to then, because what is he going to do? Suddenly be like, no, actually, I don't think it's Rob anymore. That's suspect. Like, you can't do that. So I think, especially after that confrontation with Rob, where Rob, like, to his face says, were you talking about me? I think that, yes, I think if he's brought into the turret, I think, let's be clear, Wes is always looking out for Wes more than anybody else. But then he would be looking for Danielle before he looks for Rob, I think.
Okay. Kelly asks, do you think that we're going to get a Danielle and Brittany alliance? It would be good for them, but I'm also wondering if that's why they spent time on it on their past in episode 1. It might make for good TV to show them working together. Do you think that we will see them pair up? We really didn't see Parvati and Sandra get together almost at all in season 2.
It really came, if I remember correctly, it came down to when we got closer to when Pilot Pete's, what were they called? Pete's pals, whatever. They had their little group going, and then that's when Sandra pulled everyone else in and was like, we're working together here. I feel like that's when we really saw that happen. I feel like we're seeing little bits of it where we just saw them do a download this episode where Brittany and Danielle compare some notes, and Danielle floats Carolyn's name to Brittany. I think that as far as, because I feel like a lot of questions have come in about what's going on with Brittany. Why are we not seeing Brittany? I think Brittany's playing a very solid faithful game, which is exactly why we're not seeing Brittany. In order to get TV content, you have to be either sussed or in a rivalry or under scrutiny. I think Brittany's got none of that. Very unproblematic and a very good spot to be in. As far as them being an alliance, it's hard in a game like this because an alliance works until one of you thinks the other is a traitor. And if Brittany feels like Danielle's a traitor, could she keep that to herself and try and take Danielle as far as she could? Maybe. But I don't know. What do you think, Rob, about the two of them?
I don't know. I think it might just be a moment like where we have like, okay, will Brittany vote for Danielle at a round table? And maybe that's why we're sort of like building it up to have that be a dramatic moment. Gardax Guardian says there's a theory that Brittany has already clocked Danielle and the edit is hiding it. I do think that that's one of the hard things. And I don't know how you deal with this in your coverage of the Traitors, where that sometimes I think the edit is hiding like important things. They're like, oh yeah, everybody knew that. Oh, that was a big thing. And it's just, they're not showing it in the episode. That this isn't the live feeds. Like, we're not really getting a true sense of like how everything is playing out.
Oh, for sure. Especially with our coverage, I feel like depending on the franchise, we'll just talk about those theories. Like, we'll just throw out, okay, I think also this could be happening or potentially this, because the reality is for a lot of the franchises, the Traitors will not show you the quote unquote metagamey stuff, right? They don't think it's fun content to be like, to see like Wes in the corner talking to Gabby being like, all right, so these CBS people, there's like 3 of them left. One of them has to be a traitor. That's not fun for them. That's not what they're trying to make us have the show be. We saw a little bit more, Rob, without getting into the details. In Traitors Canada Season 2, we saw a lot more of people actively having confessionals and conversations with people where they're like, so I think you're a traitor. Obviously, you can't confirm you're a traitor to me, but keep me and I won't tell anyone you're a traitor. Like, we've seen people try and maneuver with stuff like that, which has been very fun. Yeah, we've had fun watching that. And I don't doubt that we're seeing that stuff's happening in this castle. We're just not being shown it. But I think it's entirely, is there a world that Brittany already knows that Danielle's a traitor and is keeping it close? Potentially. I think it's not impossible. I think if you look at the conversation she was having with Danielle, that's really all we have to study. And I didn't think she may have been privy to Danielle until the moment where Danielle says, well, Carolyn was floating your name. And that's when Brittany said, you know what? That's a good point. Let's pencil that in for later. We'll think about it later. So maybe it's just like, let me just go along with what Danielle wants for now.
All right, let's bring in another question about Boston Rob. This is from Sammy talking about something that another Sam said. Could Rob point out that the Traitors decided not to kill him just to put suspicion on him, since it would be essentially a free banishment after what Sam said? Could this work, or is his goose totally cooked by surviving? How does Boston Rob play when Sam says, okay, well, if you're still here tomorrow, we know that you're a traitor?
There's every bit of chance that Rob goes, and I would like for you to do the impersonation, Rob, where Rob goes, hey, I'm here because you said my name. You helped me be here because they're trying to frame me.
Hey, Sam, You ever think that maybe I'm here still because you said my name? Come on. Smarten up. I owe
That's
you,
not
bro. Wow. Sandoval's like, wow, my mind's blown.
Oh my God. I'm back to
Mhm.
listening to Rob. Good argument. That's about one of the few arguments you have as a Rob here to play. The issue is, though, then you have to study it further and think, would a traitor really try and frame Rob here, or would they try and get rid of him if he's such a good detective that caught a traitor? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm a traitor, I'd rather, if you're good at figuring people out, why would I keep you? Unless A, I'm already close with you, which would make people that he's aligned with a little suspect, or B, for this frame job, which again is a light one. Also, a frame job with what Sam Asghari said. Sam Asghari's words hold that much weight in this castle. Let me see it before I believe it.
Did you see Boston Rob was on a bunch of different shows this week?
Making the rounds, Rob.
Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. He was also on the Chicks in the Office podcast. Not to be confused with Office Ladies.
No, it's a different. I initially thought it was the Office Ladies, and it was not.
Brandon Donlin said, I thought he was on the Office Ladies.
No, yeah, I saw him talk about, and also Parv has also been on the rounds here. Quite a bit of clips I've seen on my For You page.
Yeah,
but
Parv,
it was
I think
fun.
Was doing all the big podcasts.
I feel like it's been fun seeing him talking about these shows, because I think no matter how one may feel about Boston Rob, the dude really loves the shows he goes on. Like, he has a good time, and he never shies away from talking about it. He can admit when he's wrong. Yeah. I appreciate that in a contestant.
Rob, and this is like a good thing about him in terms of like working with him and why he gets on so many shows. When he agrees to do a show, he fully commits, and he goes out there and he promotes, and he's not a flake, and he really like gives his all for anything. That when they book him on a thing, like, he's going to go out there and really like do his best to try to promote the thing. So, this is why shows love dealing with Boston Rob.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you get someone from, reality TV fame that has big name, but also will give you the same energy they've been giving the entire time, you're going to try and get them on more shows. I feel like it's not a coincidence that we've seen him on so many shows in the last, 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. So here's a question for you, Pooya, from Jonathan. If you're a traitor and another traitor is saying your name, is the best strategy to not go after them, especially if you don't have much suspicion? For example, if Danielle is voted out, they may start to look at who she was pointing at, which could be dangerous for Carolyn.
It's a very good point. And I don't disagree with it, which is why I kind of felt like Bob the Drag Queen throwing out Rob's name wasn't bad for Rob like that, because I think you can argue that, well, I don't know why he would say that or whatever. I think pushing back immediately is not great. I think even Rob brings up this argument of, what did Bob the Drag Queen do the minute I said his name? He projected everything I said onto me. And that's a classic traitor move. I don't think you want to be doing the Spider-Man meme of pointing at somebody, because then the likelihood is if they're revealed as a traitor, they're going to look at you and be like, okay, so you knew because you're also a traitor? Is that why you were pushing? Because she was trying to get you out? It's 3D chess, 4D chess even. I think the instinct is to immediately try and get them out or push back on them. But if they're the first one to put your name out, and your name's not really been out there all that much, I think the move is probably kind of what Carolyn did with Dylan, which was, what, really? Oh, let her bring the name up at the round table. That's fun to me. Like, I think not being afraid to have them say your name is not a bad shout, especially when you're where Carolyn is in the game currently.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to get too paranoid, that's definitely going to be a tell. But it is tricky for these traders, especially like after what Rob did, after what Dan did last season. Like, I think it is very hard for like the person who's leading the charge. And I wonder if people might back off at some of these roundtables where, you are correct. And now people start to say, oh, well, maybe you're a traitor. It's like a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Either you're wrong and you get out of faithful, or you're right and people are like, oh, you knew.
It requires a lot of tact to be able to push out a fellow traitor and then hide and not have to pay the invoice for that later. We've seen people successfully do it, and we've seen people unsuccessfully or successfully get them out and then just immediately go out right after anyway. So it's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question for you about the Traitors. Do you think that the Carolyn Danielle rivalry will shield Boston Rob for a few rounds? Could Rob capitalize on a Danielle versus Carolyn feud?
If the wave is big enough and happens outside the turret, potentially. But like I said earlier, Rob, my concern is that Sam Asghari saying, if you're still here, we got to be looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly what they're going to be doing. I think Derek was very clear in his confession of, if I'm still alive, I'm going after him. I think Wes knows that the tides are going that way as well. So I think a lot of people are mobilizing against Rob. I have a feeling they're not going to just put everything down to look at Danielle and Carolyn, who both, to their credit, have not really appeared on a lot of suspicious lists. Maybe Danielle more than Carolyn, but not more than Rob currently.
Pooya, have you had any further thoughts about who the Traitors should or will murder next?
Oh my God, it's tough. Oh yeah, because I looked back at our discussion and we definitely had a huge short list to talk through. The more I think about it, because a lot of it has to do with, well, if Carolyn says, I don't care, I want you two dead and I can't have that, do whatever you want, what are the others going to do? I can't decide if I think that for his game, Rob definitely needs one of those cage boys out of here because they're the two loudest people that are going to be coming after him.
Mm-hmm.
However, do you, and you know Rob better than I do you think that he would avoid doing that because he doesn't want the eyes on the cage boys / now there's only 2 cage boys, one of them is probably a traitor? Do you think he's more evasive to something like that? The more I think about it, Rob is exactly the player he's told us he is. He's gonna take the big shot even if it might not be the best move. I think he's going after one of the cage boys here.
I'm trying to think of what he wants to do. I don't think that Rob is much for this idea of let's just pussyfoot around. Let's just make there be chaos. Let's make there be confusion. Although, I mean, he was going for Robin the last time out, but we sort of got it down to 4 names: Derek, Ivar, Bob, and Gabby. I do wonder, let me bring up this next question and then we'll continue to answer this. Michael Horn asks, should Rob try to murder Wes here since he knows Wes is clearly spreading his name around, or is it smarter to still keep the cage boys around since the general consensus seems to be that one of them is probably a traitor? So we talked a lot about it being Derek, but do you think that Boston Rob, who's not one to pussyfoot around, Wes is saying his name, he had that awkward conversation with Wes, does he just strike at Wes and then say, if anybody says hey, Wes was saying your name, hey, they're trying to frame me, bro.
They're trying to frame me. They murdered him. They kept me alive. It's all a frame job.
It's all. I mean, they got you. They got you right where they want you.
Here's the thing: the whole idea that he should keep the cage boys because if there's 3 of them, one of them could be, that's percentage odds is 33% versus a 50-50. I think the fact that we've seen so many people float his name and not the other 2 means that that percentage is big regardless of all 3 staying or not. So getting rid of one of them who could be more vocal and more persuasive isn't that bad. If he can somehow get, see, the thing is, which one is better for him, Wes or Derek? I think that, I don't know. Wes is clearly Derek's moving more in the shadows. Wes is on his radar, but okay. Wes is also, he knows Wes has said his name. I think he should go Derek. I still think he should go Derek.
Which would Danielle be more likely to sign off on? Would she sign off on murdering Derek?
Okay. So I think there's a world where she should. And I think that world is, why would I take out a big brother person? So that is not bad for her there. We've seen her actively bring up the Carolyn idea in front of Wes, which should show that she's working with Wes on the low key a little bit. But then she also tried to give Derek the shield twice. So if Derek leaves, she can play it up oh my God, I knew he needed the shield. I feel so bad. I tried to keep him in. That could help with the acting chops. And I think that, if you want to minimize the Big Brother target, getting rid of a Big Brother person here too is not that bad. I think keeping all Big Brother intact is actually worse for you later down.
Yeah. So I think that this is really tough. I mean, who has social connections? Does Derek have? So I got the sense that from Robin the other day, she made it seem like that Derek was connecting more with the other people.
Well, I think we're seeing a lot more on the show of Wes mingling more, but I have a feeling Derek's kind of doing the not so much popping for TV connections that are not going to make the show itself, but is making the connections there for sure. And I think just studying the two of them, if you put both of them on the board, you're like, who's more likely to put the spotlight on themselves or become a spectacle or yell or argue? Wes. Therefore, let's keep Wes. Let's get rid of Derek, who operates more in the shadows, is more quiet. And if Rob is privy to what he just did to Bob, who's most likely to do the Boston Rob move on me and blindside me at the round table? It's Derek.
Yeah, and the thing that leads me back to Derek, it's a little bit more of an edgic thing. Just the fact that Derek said hey, if Boston Rob was smart, that he would kill me tonight. It's like, and Boston Rob is smart.
So if Boston Rob is smart and he gets rid of Derek, so if Derek's gone, do you think that means Boston Rob survives the episode or no?
I think that he is, as a cage boy, very cagey. I think he does. Like, I don't feel like that there is, a mounting amount of sus that is that he can't shake off.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. I personally would not like to see Wes leave quite yet. I feel like Wes is going to deliver a lot more fun moments. But we'll see. We'll see where we go from here.
Like, who does Wes have in terms of votes for Rob? Let's say, okay, so Wes is okay. He's got maybe Ivar. He's got Sam Asghari. But have they reached, does he have reach across the aisle to the surviving Bambis? Like, can he get Chrishell and Gabby?
He can get Gabby. I think Gabby's gettable. Dylan literally voted Gabby here, and she didn't seem too happy about that. I think the connection of the two of them working together could
Bob
potentially
Harper
spell
is certainly
sideways.
gettable.
That's
so it seems like, it seems like we're getting to 5 or 6 rather easy. So we've really got to build up suspense on sus on somebody else.
You float this to Danielle, she's going to get on board. She would love for this man to leave. So that's another person to throw in there. I think there are numbers there. I really do.
Yeah. If Rob goes out before Carolyn, can Danielle U-turn this thing?
If Rob goes out before Carolyn, can Danielle U-turn the thing?
I mean, that's sort of like hey, hat in hand, Carolyn, my bad.
I think that there's a world where she can. I think the concern is that I don't think Carolyn will forgive and forget. So on the surface, it can look good, but I truly do not think either of them are going to let bygones be bygones. I think the damage is done in that turn right now.
Okay. Pooya, a question for you from Betty. What is your personal favorite top 3 season ranking of the Traitors? All US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. P.S. I listened to all the Traitors and Claim to Fame coverage. This is one of my favorite podcasts. I'm so thankful for the entertainment y'all provide.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We just dropped the Traitors UK season 3 finale pod, so you can check that out. We had a lot of discussion fun there too. Rob, my top 3 has not really shifted a lot since the beginning of this franchise, but Traitors UK season 1 and 2 are up there in my top 3. And there's a couple more that could fit in that third slot, but I will tell you New Zealand 2. New Zealand 2 is in there for me. Let's say that's my top 3.
Okay. Any particular reason why those are your favorites?
UK 1, there's just a magic there. I feel like the UK, because they're all civilians, I feel like the game it's a lot more fun when people do strategic stuff because you're like, oh my God, didn't expect that. But then also there's a lot more dramatic, people getting legitimately mad at each other. You'd think they're actually getting murdered, which I do enjoy when the reactions are as dramatic as it can get. There's some good reveals there in that big reactions, which I love a good reaction. And then New Zealand 2 was a great strategy intensive season that had a lot of fun characters and personalities that also brought drama. So it wasn't all strategy. So it was a lot of fun. And New Zealand 2 specifically felt like, okay, this is where the game's starting to like shift up a bit. Some of the strategies that we thought were guaranteed in the first couple go-arounds are no longer valid or may not be valid. So.
Okay. What's the best of the US seasons?
Okay. Oh God. Right now, I mean, I'm not a results-oriented guy. It's all about the fun season for me. A satisfying ending is great and all, but because I think season 1 had the most satisfying ending of any of the franchises for me personally, but I don't think it was the best of the 3 seasons. I think that's third. I think right now this season's en route to being number 1, and I think season 2 will stay season 2 unless we go completely sideways here. So it's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. All right.
What about you? What do you think of the 3 seasons?
I feel like that season 2 started hot, but I kind of feel like that the back third of season 2 was a little sleepy.
Yeah, but well, once like Parv is caught, Dan is caught, and Phaedra's name is out thanks to Dan, so they're looking at Phaedra. It really took the wind out of the sails a little bit, where it kind of just felt like a inevitable. They're going, who's next in the turret? Are they going to have a chance?
And I feel like that season 1, while we had so much cannon fodder there, I feel like that with the way that Suri played the end game, like it was getting more exciting as we got to the end. Whereas I feel like in season 2, it got less exciting as we got to the end.
Yeah. Season 2, like I think the finale was a lot of fun, but I definitely remember some of those moments in the middle where it's like, oh dear Lord, where are we going with this? So
not
I think it's also
Sue. Yeah.
Oh, that beginning of season 2 was magic, Rob. That was such a good time.
Yeah. So we've had high highs so far in season 3. We'll see if the back half ends up being more season 1 or season 2. But yeah, I've got some fun social media stuff to share from the Traitors. Okay. First up, I want to share a post, and this is from a person on Twitter. Okay. This is from Gibson Johns. Okay. Gibson, he is probably live tweeting Real Housewives. Okay. Host of Gabbing with Gib. Okay. He had the chance to talk with Chanel. Okay. All right. Ion, they call her. Okay.
Yes.
And here's what she had to say about some of the people that she played with on the Traitors.
I only knew the people from Bravo World. I didn't know the other people because the other people were like, I'm a survivor, I'm a survivor, I'm a survivor. I personally thought they have survived things like me, female genital mutilation. I've survived malaria, I've survived typhoid, Ebola, like drought, like everything. So I was like, what have you guys survived? And then Derek is like, I lost 40 pounds. And I was like, huh? I was like, what do you mean? Even when I died, I still didn't understand them. I left and died. And that's when I realized there's a TV show called Survivors.
Now, okay, let's address this. Okay. First off, Derek's wasn't even on Survivor.
Yeah, I don't know if she meant someone else.
When Derek said he lost 40 pounds, I guess she thought that it must have been from the trauma that he was surviving. The drought and the famine.
I want people to understand, first of all, Ion is a treasure, and I think the biggest travesty of the season for me so far is that we didn't get Ion longer. I was very sad to lose Wells, but the more we saw from Ion and the more I've listened to her after, I feel like we missed out hard, Rob. But remember that question people asked about, like, why are people not on to Danielle yet? It's stuff like this where not everyone's going to be privy to who these people are. Like, we are the ridiculous people who know this, like, 20-year-old history. Not everyone's going to be on that.
Yeah. Forget knowing that Danielle's a traitor. They don't even know that Danielle was on Big Brother. They think that she was survived. She's a famous person for surviving drought and famine and genital mutilation.
I mean, Ion's been through some stuff. So for Ion, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. No one thought to clarify this to start, please.
Yeah.
Let her know.
That's so funny. Great clip. And, look, it's like that old Curb Your Enthusiasm with Colby where like, no, I'm a survivor. So, yeah, look, if people just, I'm just going to lead with I'm a survivor and just let people wonder. Like, wow, that guy's been through some stuff. Yep.
Like, what's the hardest thing you've been through? You're like, This one time,
Yeah.
I usually eat on a routine, and I couldn't get the chicken I usually eat, and it was bad. I went through a
Well,
lot.
yeah, I've, 20 years ago, I became a survivor. Like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing, It was hard. So, it really took a toll on me, but, I'm still hanging in there, still around, Wow. Okay. All right.
I think you benefit from not having one either. You could hide. You could hide.
All right. Then Boston Rob. We said he's great at promoting the shows that he does. That he comes out and with this piece of marketing. Yes, you like this? Yes.
I called this on the pod, Rob, that he was wearing the backwards hat. I knew it.
Yes. Okay. I've been rocking the backwards hat since '87. Dylan Efron has been rocking it since he met me. If you're not watching The Traitors on Peacock, you're missing out. Backwards hat bros for life. Should I click on the hashtag? How many people do you think have used the backwards hat bros for life hashtag?
I think stop sharing your
Is Rob
screen and
auditioning
check
to
it.
be on the circle next?
He could, or not the anonymous. Yeah.
Message. I've been rocking the backwards hat since 1987. Hashtag backwards hat bros for life.
I mean, put him on there. If he wants to do it, why not?
Yeah, here's the backwards hat bros.
I like the idea that he sat down and made this on like Photoshop himself. He's like, let me pick the right font for this.
Yeah, I think somebody at NBC must have made this for him because they've got the Traitors and the Peacock branding.
Fair.
Yeah.
Rob, have I ever seen you rock a backwards hat ever?
Probably not even a forwards hat.
Yeah, I've never seen you with a brim hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, hold on. Let me here you let's see.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Who can I pull this off?
Let's find out. Let's find out, y'all. Real quick, those of you asking about exits, I've said this, but we have said give us everybody. So if they have a press day, we got them. If they don't give us a press day, we can't have them. Here comes Rob back with a hat. All right.
Does this work?
Damn.
Is this working?
Like I've helped this guy do a keg stand before.
Yeah. Backwards hat? You think I'm more like a sideways hat?
I don't think anyone's a side hat anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Hey,
I like it, Rob.
It's not working for you. Okay, yeah. Am I in? Backwards hat bros?
Yeah. Rob, you wear this to in the inevitability that we hopefully get an exit with Rob. You wear this to the exit. I'll wear it too. In solidarity.
Okay. Don't tell him it's a RHAP 5-timers hat.
Yeah. You keep that backwards.
Okay. All right. Allie says Rob is more of an upside down visor guy. I could do that.
You don't have a visor handy, do you?
I do downstairs. I don't have one handy.
Oh.
It's a Bud Light visor.
Oh, is it now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Probably older than Dylan Efron. Maybe.
So you've had that visor that long, eh?
Mm-hmm. By the way, nobody else has used the hashtag backwards hat bros for life.
Oh, wow. So he's prime real estate that he got. Yeah.
First of its kind. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then let me do okay, here's another clip. Okay. And a clip from Gabby. Okay, Gabby posted to TikTok, and of course, our great friend Miriam ends up grabbing this one. Let me go ahead and share this. Boy, we could do more Traitor slop than we can do for Survivor.
Oh, all the players are so active on socials and doing podcasts and stuff. There's plenty to talk about.
Okay. All right. Here we go. And here's Gabby. And here's what Miriam pulled for us.
People are like, Gabby is Elwood's at the round table. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, where did I learn things like compounding evidence, which, by the way, is doing nothing for you in your rebuttal? But then I was like, oh my God, on our days off, all I would do was watch Judge Judy because it was the only show that Scotland had the rights to, apparently. And I would study her and like how to tell if somebody was lying, how to tell them off succinctly if they were lying, and what their defense was going to be like if they were caught, red-handed and dead wrong. Like, no, lady. After your fender bender, you did not just ask for her insurance. You pulled her curly head out the window and said, what am I supposed to do? Not pull her beautiful head of hair? That was one of my favorite episodes.
Okay. Boom.
Rob,
So glad the talk is back.
this is a I honestly think she may have cooked with this one. I think learning how to rebuttal / argue back and roast people in the round table, I think is an underrated thing to have. I think people are very susceptible to good speech at that table. And, Dylan was getting dragged for getting his ass handed to him versus Bob that first night. I think having that retort is good.
Put Judge Judy on the Traitors, you cowards.
I think that could work. I'd be down. Would you like for Judge Judy to be a traitor or a faithful, though?
I think she should be a faithful.
Okay.
I think she would be running that round table.
And listen, the Traitors US does put celebrities on. So Judge Judy is a candidate that could go on if they ask her.
Yeah. I think we need to open up the Traitors casting a little bit and have more just random famous people.
I agree. There are plenty of pools they can go to pull people from, and there's a lot of slots.
Keith says they can't afford her. That's true. She's worth probably hundreds of millions, if not billions.
She doesn't need we've talked about how the show now is so big that could be enough weight to bring someone. I think her life is probably fine.
We might have to settle for Judge Mathis. Judge Joe Brown. Is that one? Yeah.
Judge Jerry. Didn't he do a judge show for a minute?
Well, Jerry Springer?
Am I about to find out something?
Well, I guess so, because R.I.P. Jerry Springer. It wasn't the Traitors that got him, Pooya.
All right.
It'd be tough to get him. Judge Jerry Springer hologram? Perhaps.
We don't need a hologram quite yet. Oh my God. Oh God.
Jerry Springer is going to be tough. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts about the Traitors this week heading into this episode 6?
No, I've seen, people talk about the next time on and how it looked like there was only 3 traitors at the round table. What does that mean? I truly, unless I go back and see different, I just think they kept the scenes where the focus is the traitors in, so we don't get spoiled on who got murdered or we don't piece it together. Because I remember very specifically last year, that night that Bergie was there was a screenshot of the people at the round table, and I saw Bergie was there, and I counted everybody, and everybody was there. Or we figured something out basically through the preview, and I remember people were not happy that we talked about that. But so I think it's more so they're preventing us from figuring it out, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited. I can't wait. It's gonna be a good time.
It's always a little hard to okay, we want to speculate, but then we also don't want to pick apart the previews too much. And so, I kind of feel like I don't mind when they we're picking up vibes from the preview. I feel like if you're screenshotting, I feel like that's almost spoiler adjacent.
I guess so. It's hard, right?
But other people are going to do it, and it's going to be out there. So I try not to pause the commercial and figure out, okay, oh wait, who had this?
Yeah, it's kind of like the people complaining about getting, people who watch a show that dropped immediately. And I'm like, well, you're asking me to have self-control and not watch, but I know someone else out there will not have self-control and see it all before me and then speak on it. And then it ruins my experience. So then I watch all of it in one go too. So it's hard because it's also one of those things where, am I going to see it now? Ooh, there is a conspiracy theory out there, Rob, that someone did point out to me. And if anybody would like to submit this into our feedback form for next week, we can dive into it because I've seen some videos surfacing. Apparently, Rob, Derek and Tom Sandoval know each other.
What? How?
Yeah. Someone I should have kept an eye on it. But basically, Derek has been friends with some people from the Vanderpump realm. He was on a podcast with one of them, on one other podcast, and was talking to them, and they've hung out before. Allegedly.
Derek and Sandoval are hanging out?
Yes, apparently they know each other to some extent. I really wish I
They
remember
know each other.
where I saw that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Reagan says, I think Rob is ready to play some beer pong with the backwards hat. I'm obsessed with the hat thing now.
Wear
Yeah,
it, Rob.
let's do it.
See. Go downstairs with the hat on like this. I would like to know afterwards what Nicole thought about the look.
Look, I already got some flack recently on one of the patron 5 for 5s. And Nicole claimed that I was, during Traitors RHAP, I was frolicking around the house
I
in
did
the
hear
costumes,
this.
which I was not.
I feel like you frolic never. You don't seem like a frolicker to me.
I'm not a frolicker.
Dawdle, maybe.
Yeah.
But frolic, no. It's not you.
I dawdle?
Do you?
I'm not even sure what the definition is. I feel like dawdle is like move around slow.
Yeah, I guess I dawdle more than you do.
Is the
I should
opposite
look
of
in the mirror.
frolic?
No, I don't know. Rob, it's my second language. That's what I'm claiming here.
Okay. All right. Pooya, anything else on your mind?
No, I'm very pumped because I made a bold prediction on our recap that this next episode is going to be a very fun one, electric. So we'll see if I'm right. Also, Rob, I wanted to bring this up about 3 episodes ago, but we recently on the Traitors feed have surpassed our 100 episodes of this little feed. Okay. So we're doing things, Rob. It's a good time.
Keep on subscribing. We need your feedback. Go ahead and subscribe to all of the Traitors coverage at weknowtraitors.com. Okay. Of course, you can hear Pooya and Liana on the Pooya and Liana Lounge. Episode 3 dropped this weekend. I felt a little bad. I didn't get to episode 2 till pretty late in the game, but I listened to. I was the first 24 hours guy on episode 3.
And Rob, you sent me and Liana notes, and it was so delightful. I loved reading through them. It was great.
Yes. I felt like where I want to live tweet the podcast. I have things to responses.
Yeah, I mean, in the event that anyone would like to, if you use hashtag PALL, similar to Backwards Bros hats
maybe
for life.
I'll use my blue sky for that.
Yes, that is a great use of your blue sky.
That's it. I'm only using my blue sky to live tweet podcasts.
That's a great plug.
Yeah. This is a great idea. Go to and follow me on Blue Sky for my live tweeting of podcasts at robcesternino.bsky.app.
Just search up Rob Cesternino. You'll see him there.
Go to hashtag PALL on Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Pooya, what else is coming up for you?
Well, like I said, we do have the latest episode, or our final episode of Traitors UK coverage. There was a huge twist, a huge ending. We discussed everything. We broke it all down. So that was a lot of fun. You can find that over on the feed. And, be on the lookout for Pooya and Liana Lounge. Episode 4 we haven't recorded yet. We're recording tomorrow. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I already have some thoughts on where I want to take us with regards to some lore. And then other than that, 90 Day Fiance, you can find me talking everything on the Hot Mess Express on the 90 Day Fiance Wrap Ups feed. And I believe that is everything, Rob. Oh, yeah. Find me on my socials at Pooyaism or on twitch.tv/Pooya.
Don't miss that last week. Also, that Pooya had a big weekly info blast for everybody that you could read at realitytvnewsletters.com about the best way to play the Traitors.
Yeah. Is there a right way to play the Traitors? I answered that question, or I think I did.
We love to get your feedback here in the YouTube comments. This was fun with the live chat today.
Yeah, it was a good time. Let us know, what you thought. Were some of the answers good? But I'm very cool with having discussions about this show because I think it's a very subjective show. So let us know your opinions. I would love to read all of them, and I will.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.